If you've ever worked a partial load contract in the community colleges, you've accumulated service credits. Before 2017, they didn't really have much value, outside of determining pay rates. However, with the addition of the partial load registry in our last contract, they have become much more important. Let's have a closer look at what your service credits can do for you and how to calculate them yourselves to make sure they're correct. Service credits are how the colleges calculate each contract faculty's seniority. Article 26, Section 10C explains a major gain in our most recent collective agreement. Since October 2017, contract faculty earn 1 service credit for each calendar month in which they teach at least 30 teaching contact hours. Let's look at some examples to see what that means. Let's say Mohammad has 8 teaching contact hours a week. In January 2020, they would teach 4 full weeks, so they would get a service credit. However, February is a different story. Reading week would not count towards their teaching contact hours. Depending on their schedule, Family Day might also reduce their hours for the month. In any case, they wouldn't make it to 30 hours and therefore wouldn't earn a service credit for that month. March would be a full month of teaching and therefore would represent another service credit. The winter 2020 term ends on April 17th, so there are only 2.5 teaching weeks. April also includes Good Friday, another stat holiday. It wouldn't be possible for Mohammad to accumulate 30 hours for that month. In another example, Sasha teaches 12 hours a week. January and March would both include at least 48 teaching contact hours, and therefore equal 2 service credits. But how would February and April play out? Despite the reading week and statutory holiday, Sasha would likely accumulate at least 30 teaching contact hours in February and therefore earn a service credit. Even April would likely net them a service credit, depending on what days of the week they're scheduled to teach, since the month starts on a Wednesday. This shows us why service credits are important. As we can see here, if Mohammad had a similar workload in all 3 terms, they might only earn 6 service credits a year. Sasha, on the other hand, could earn up to 12 service credits. This has potentially long-term consequences that can really hold Mohammad back over the years. Partial load faculty gain a step on the salary grid for every 10 service credits. But at this rate, Mohammad would only get a pay raise every 2 years. Sasha, on the other hand, would be virtually guaranteed a raise every year. In addition, Mohammad would progressively lose ground to Sasha in terms of hiring priority each term. Given how important service credits are, there are few things that partial load faculty should do to advocate for themselves. Make sure the college has the correct number of service credits for you. The collective agreement stipulates that the college must post seniority lists each year. The list typically comes out January 31st and must be posted in a public place, such as the mailroom. The next section states that partial load faculty have 2 weeks to check and contest their service credits. If those 2 weeks expire, the college considers their number to be correct and will not use another number to calculate your pay or your hiring priority, even if it's wrong. If the list isn't posted in your mailroom, you can also find it on our website at www.opseu562.org under the FAQ tab at the top of the screen. We also keep lists from the previous few years on our website for your reference. All partial load faculty should also keep a record of your service credits for the current academic year. That way, you'll know exactly when to ask for your step increase if you don't see it reflected in your pay. Remember, you go up a step the moment you accumulate 10 service credits, whether that happens in the middle of a contract or not. You can also use the lists and your knowledge of your own seniority to make sure you've been offered the courses and number of teaching contact hours required by the Partial Load Registry. The registry is too complicated to explain in detail in this video, but if you need any further information about it, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can find us at the Union office, open from 10 to 5 every day in F105 at the North Campus, and on Tuesdays between 12 and 2 in A116A at the Lakeshore Campus. Or you can get in touch via email. All stewards and officers have union email addresses listed on the locals website, www.opseu562.org, under the Contacts tab. We're always happy to hear from you. Thank you for watching and for being willing to advocate for your rights under our collective agreement. Remember, our collective agreement is only as powerful as our willingness to enforce it. If there are other topics you'd like to know more about in this format, please feel free to suggest them in the comments below.